snap of grandmother's fan of Spanish lace all but forced Winter's eyes to the right, as if Mr. Lane were different from any other guest here, as if he were anything but another haughty, arrogant loyalist, as if he were— She drew in a sharp breath when her gaze collided with the stranger's. He stood beside her grandfather, his eyes locked on her. 'Twas nothing unusual, given the gilding her grandmother poured upon her, but the way he looked at her, the eyes that did the looking. He was only passably handsome, if one examined his nose, his mouth, his jaw. Strong features and sandy hair he hadn't bothered to powder or cover in a wig. Pleasant, not exceptional. But those eyes, they seemed to pierce right through her facade, down to the heart she'd been forbidden to have. Penetrating, stirring, tugging. No, she couldn't afford to let a man turn her head, and she certainly couldn't let one see her heart, no matter that a single gaze from him made her yearn for someone who might understand her. God of my end, help me to focus upon your will for me. Winter tore her gaze free and curtsied to her grandmother. I shall be glad to meet him in a moment, ma'am. Perhaps some other enterprising young lady would have laid claim to him by the time she returned. Eyes like that were far too dangerous. Grandmother kept her a moment more. You have heard of the recent fortune of the Manhattan Lanes, I presume? If one could call it fortune when one's uncle's son died and one's father returned to England to learn to manage the family estates, which grandmother certainly did, being ever loyal to the crown, no matter how hard the heel of His Majesty's army crushed the city. Winter nodded. Her grandmother pursed her lips. Go, child, but hurry back before Mrs. Parks snatches him and forces him to dance with Theodosia. To God's ear. Somehow she suspected Mr. Lane's gaze wouldn't unnerve Dosia at all. Her friend had no secrets to be discovered. Winter made her escape from the ballroom. Guests filled the hallway, too, and they would be in and out of all the main rooms in her grandparents' first floor. She followed a bewigged couple into the drawing-room and traced a path along the chamber's edge until she came to the polished maple of the high chest of drawers. The bottom center drawer was open a bit, not so much as to be noticeable to anyone not looking, but enough that Winter could catch her sleeve on the knob as she walked by and make a show of looking irritated before freeing it. She folded the slip of paper she'd recovered into her fan, shut the drawer with a scowl, and then headed out of the room, inspecting her sleeve as if the lace had torn. No one stopped her as she darted up the stairs and headed for her bedchamber. That didn't keep a relieved breath from seeping out as she threw the bolt on the door. Winter strode to the banked fire and stirred it enough to light a taper. She set the candle upon a table and pulled the slip of paper out. The message written upon it made her smile. My dearest lady, flame of my heart, how you make my day burn bright. With the smallest turn of your reddest lips, you are all that is beauty and light. Winter snorted a laugh and checked the right top corner of the page. An H marked it. The real message, then, would appear with the application of heat. Hands steady, Winter held the page close, then closer to the flame, closer still until the smell of scorching paper filled her nostrils, until a faint sizzle reached her ears, until the invisible ink filling the space between the lines of terrible poetry turned a golden brown. 11 o'clock tonight, the tulip tree behind the stable. 11. She pulled the paper away from the flame and squinted to read the darkened face of the mantel clock. 1 hour more. Time enough to appease grandmother, to bat her lashes and act the part of witless society lady for Mr. Lane. Then she could slip outside. She hoped Robbie would be there to meet her, and she could tell him what Fairchild had said, though there remained the possibility that he had simply left another message for her. This one could bring her trouble enough. If her grandparents saw it, they would place her under lock and key to keep her from eloping as mother had. Or worse, if grandfather had meant the threat that still made her shiver, and she had no reason to doubt his sincerity given the hatred he had never tried to hide from her. Time nipped at the back of her throat, each tick of the clock telling her to hurry downstairs. But first